Yo, what is going on, guys? And welcome back to another episode of the Journey Podcast. What we have going on here today is we're going to talk about the difference between in-person training and online coaching. I know that there's a lot of coaches who get certified who want to go into the in-person route. They're not quite sure the benefits of the online space. And so we're going to dive into the differences between the two. Fun fact, I actually started off as an in-person trainer. I did in-person sessions for about 2 years in my mom's garage, which I converted into a studio back when I was 18, 19 years old before I moved to San Diego. It was great. I loved it, but there were definitely a lot of setbacks and cons to in-person training. So what we're going to do is dive into the differences here, and we're going to have Jen joining us in just a few minutes, and we're going to talk about, why you should be online coaching over in-person training, but then also too, some of the benefits to in-person training at the same time. So we'll go ahead and dive into it in 3, 2, 1. Let's get it.
When you first started?
Yeah, so some background on me. I have the Happy, Healthy, Confident community. We are a squad that empowers women, that makes them feel great, that teaches them that food is good, that life can be good. So that's kind of what we do. And when it came to kind of deciding if we wanted to do online or in person, the real problem with being in person is that it kind of actually does limit how many people you can help. It's like if you're helping every single person who goes to LA Fitness and every hour of your day is booked, you're still not impacting as many people as you could if you were giving people online. And in my opinion, I don't know any in-person trainers who's been able to provide as much accountability, support, or like just far beyond. I think that a lot of people actually do enjoy working out and have no problem getting to the gym, but it's all the aspects outside of the gym: nutrition, accountability, guidance, help, answering their questions. Like there's just so much more when it comes to online training that you get out of it. And I really do think because of that amount of support, people who are working with an online coach do get a lot better results than just working with a personal trainer as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, one thing I want to do too is like I don't want to divide in person versus online because I know that there is a huge like argument. I feel like in-person trainers like live and die by in-person training, and online coaches can kind of take it or leave it. I definitely think there's pros and cons. But like what Jen was saying from a business aspect, it's very, very hard to scale because all of your time and energy is devoted into one person for 1 hour. And if you have group sessions, that's great. But at a certain point, you can only scale it so far. Online coaching is much more scalable because you can reach a far more amount of people in a shorter amount
In
of
a
time
short
and
amount of time
actually
and
provide them
actually
more
provide them more
resources
resources
to help them
to
do it
help
on
them
their
do it
own.
on their
I
own.
find that
I
with
find that
in-person
with
training,
in-person
people kind
training,
of
people
become
kind of
dependent
become
on the
dependent
trainer
on the
being there to
trainer
work
being there to
out,
work out,
and
and
your reach
your
and touch
reach
is
and
very
touch is very
limited. If you don't mind me sharing, I would love to share my own personal experience with in-person training before we move forward. So I was an in-person trainer when I was first getting started. I used to train out of my mom's studio. I turned her garage into a studio, and I would have clients come to me, and I would train them in person for an hour. And I was only able to train about
able to train
five
about
people a
five
day. So
people a
from
day. So
3 p.m. in
from
the
3
afternoon to
p.m. in the
8
afternoon
p.m.
to 8
Now, if
p.m.
I
Now, if
wanted
I
to
wanted
coach more
to,
people, I absolutely
I
could. But
absolutely
at the end of
could.
the day, I
But at
was
the end of the day,
freaking
I was freaking
exhausted. I was on my
exhausted.
feet
I
all
was on my
day.
feet
I
all
had
day.
to
I
entertain
had to entertain
conversations. And to be
conversations,
real with you
and to be
guys,
real with
a
you
lot of
guys,
the
a lot of
conversations
the
was a lot
conversations
of
was a lot of
pointless, like,
pointless, like,
how was your
how was
weekend?
your
What are you
weekend?
doing this
What are you
weekend?
doing
Are you
this
going to
weekend? Are
party?
you
It's
going to
just a
party?
lot of
It's just
like
a lot of like
mundane
mundane
conversation that could
conversation that
be
could be
like, I could have just
like
saved
I
a
could
lot
have
of
just saved a
time.
lot of
And at
time.
the end of the
And at the
day,
end of
what
the
ended up
day, what
happening
ended up
is,
happening
is my
is my
clients became
clients
dependent and
became
accountable
dependent
to
and
the
accountable to the
sessions, but
sessions, but
nothing outside
nothing
of the
outside of the
sessions they
sessions
were
they
accountable
were
to,
accountable to.
right? They
Right?
would tell me
They
they
would
had
tell me they had
margaritas over the
margaritas.
weekend. They were following like no meal plans. Like they became like dependent to the sessions, but not to um, the actual transformation. But with online coaching, I find that you're only working with people for a specific result, and they're not actually dedicated to the session itself, but they're dedicated to all 5 sessions and the nutrition and the results. So I feel like the accountability there is different, right? There's still accountability, but the accountability is different. Whereas in-person training, you're accountable to the sessions. Online training, you're accountable to the results. Jen, have you seen, differences in results between in-person coaches, physical transformations, and your online clients and how it's
How
delivered?
that's delivered.
Can you repeat that? I'm sorry, it like cut out a little.
Oh, it's all good. I was just asking about the difference in results that you've seen from in-person training and online training.
Yeah, so I have never been someone who did in-person training. I always did online. But talking to a lot of personal trainers and having clients who have had in-person trainers and now work with online coaches, us, I do have a lot of kind of knowledge on the difference and kind of why I think people have better results online. I don't think that you can't get results in person. I just think that a lot of the key indicators that are going to help with you being successful in your fitness phase is things that are outside the gym. So if your in-person trainer isn't doing, the things outside the gym, that's just kind of limiting the amount of tools that you have to succeed when you think about it. So kind of just give you like a breakdown, with an online coach, you can get, 4 to 6 workouts per week, whether that is a cardio regimen, a weight training plan. There's just so much more than you're getting than maybe 1, maybe 2, maybe 3, maybe 4 sessions in person. So it just allows you to kind of have a lot more on the workout front, even though you don't have someone necessarily there with you. There are amazing, amazing coaching softwares that me and lots of other coaches use that allow us to see what you are doing in the gym, that really do this insight. And, it's going to be more useful for you to be able to have a tracked workout plan for the success of the client than to just meet with someone and do random stuff, which I think a lot of in-person trainers also do. In addition for that, when it comes to in-person training, all of the contact is in person. So you're not really having any method of communication with your coach. You might not have daily support. You might not be able to ask them questions. When you're outside the gym, if you want to know, like, hey, coach, if you have a question, there's nothing that you can do because your person's in person. And for them, their job is to be with you for an hour and that's their paid session. So you're really not getting a lot of support outside of the gym when it comes to that as well.
I think
in addition to that,
go ahead.
Go ahead.
yeah, no, you go.
I was going to say, I think something that you highlighted so well that I don't think a lot of people realize is that when you work with an online coach, they are designing a program that's optimal for the best results. Whereas when I was training in person, I would see someone every single week, 3 times a week. And a lot of the times I would just ask myself, like, okay, what kind of workout am I going to put together today that's going to make them entertained and kind of, change things up? When I knew, I'm like, these people, they're paying for results, but like they're also expecting something different every time they come in, and they're paying for me to put together these different kind of workouts when I knew that it wasn't optimal for their growth. Whereas with online coaching, you can program out 6 to 12 weeks that's totally optimized for their goals to help them see their goals without them worrying about like, oh, what kind of workout is he going to give me today because that's what I'm paying for.
Yeah. And also kind of going off of that too, it's like, not only do you have a plan that's optimal for you, but you have a lot more flexibility. Like for me, as a client, let's say as a client, if you have to meet up with your in-person trainer at noon that day, like that's your schedule. Like if you want to work with someone who's an online coach, it doesn't matter if you go to the gym at noon. It doesn't matter if, someone needs you urgently. You can go to the gym later on. You can change when that session is. So having an online coach not only optimizes your results because you get more and it's more designated for your results, but you also just have more flexibility to kind of do your own thing and hold yourself accountable, and just really make it work for you. An online coach, a good online coach at least, isn't someone who's going to tell you do X, Y, and Z. It's someone who's going to say, this is what we're doing, and this is what I want you to work on this week. Or that's totally cool that you have flexibility. Or let me help you achieve more flexibility in your life. It's a lot more of a conversation of my lifestyle and how I can change to achieve my goals rather than just, oh, cool, today in the gym, we're going to be doing this. See you at noon tomorrow. It is so different.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, something I would like to do is, because there's 2 parties here, there's the client and then there's also the coach, right? So from the client's perspective, what are the benefits for online coaching over in-person coaching? I know you said flexibility. I know that you said, there's some other like accountability, but what are some other benefits? What are the pros to online coaching over in-person coaching?
Yeah. So aside from, having more flexibility, having more support outside of the gym, you also just, I think, learn more. I think that when you're meeting with someone and kind of talking to them as if they're your barber while you work out, you're not going to be like, okay, like, why do I need this many carbs? Or what is this doing for my hormones? Like it's not the same thing. But as you are working with an online coach, you can actually communicate these things. You can ask these questions. You can talk to them, and it's not just like a weird kind of gym interaction. And on top of that, you have weekly check-ins, and I know some personal trainers do track progress. But with online coaching, we are looking at your pictures. We're putting them side by side every single week. We are seeing your progress. We are tracking your weight. We are literally collecting data on you in the gym, the way your body's responding, the way that your hunger cues are progressing. Like, we are tracking your data to make sure that you really are moving forward. We are holding you accountable every single week. And if there's a day where you feel like you're not making progress, we can put the little two side by side and show you that you're making progress. And in-person trainers, I mean, some of them I'm sure do that, but I don't know many who do any check-ins or anything outside of the gym, because quite frankly, their job is to be an in-person trainer. Their job isn't to text you.
Yeah.
And going off of that as well, like, the amount of coaching softwares that there are to help you perform as a client and to help the coach be there for you is phenomenal. There's Fit Coach Pro, there's Trainers, there's all these different softwares that allow us to give you form videos. So if you have a question, I know that when you're in-person training, you're getting a lot of form help, but you have a video demonstration of how to do it. It does track your progress. It does actually show us how many steps you're doing a day. It does make sure that we see your progressive overload. It connects to your MyFitnessPal. So we literally know every single detail of your life. And there is no way for an in-person trainer to really do any of that at all. And then in addition, like, a lot of online coaches have so many resources. We have like a 40-page welcome packet that we give to every single one of our clients. So that way, when they start, they're not blindsided. They have info, they have everything. In-person trainers, I mean, unless their gym provides them with these resources, they're not out there making you a whole welcome packet. Like, they don't get compensated for that. They're not going to do that. So it's not really going to be ideal for client progress, just because there are so many variables that are impacting your progress and aren't accounted for. Yeah. And as well, like I said, you check in with us, we track your stress, we track your hunger, we track your steps, we track your life. We're there to help you. We're there to give you feedback on what's going on. So there's just so much more. With a lot of coaching communities as well, like, there are communities, like, we are a community, like, we have a whole group chat. So if you ever want to, ask a question to 50 different women to get their insight and how you can apply it to your life, you just write in the group chat. A lot of coaches have that. And we also have team calls. We have so much more support in and out of the gym that a personal trainer could just simply not provide.
Yeah, so there's a lot of things that came up in my mind that I wanted to add in there. One of the things is that online coaches really focus on the actual lifestyle integration. Sure, with in-person coaches, I will say that they do provide a lot of benefits when it comes to form correction, and that is important. Now, there are ways online in which you can integrate that into your online program, which we'll talk about in a second. But one of the things with online coaching, it's not just workout and form demonstrations or workout and form corrections, but it's all around overall lifestyle integration. And a lot of what we work with is not only, okay, what are your macros, what's your nutrition, what's your workout plan, but it's also how to integrate that into your lifestyle and routine. So that way you can see sustainable results long-term without actually having someone to hold your hand in the gym. The other thing too is, like, there's no reason why an in-person coach can't provide all of these tools, but then at that point, they are using the online aspect of training, and you can go back and forth and be like, okay, that's actually online coaching in that sense. In-person coaching, we're talking about strictly just in the gym. The other thing too, actually, it just slipped my mind. I totally forgot what it was. It was going to be like, okay, so why can't you reach out to your coach and ask them questions during the week? Well, you can. If they're an in-person coach, you definitely can reach out to them, but their job is actually going to be attentive towards the next client, right? Whereas where I was an in-person trainer, if my client that I trained at 3 o'clock, if he asked me a question at 5 o'clock, I wouldn't actually get back to him until the next day because I was working with clients in person. I couldn't be on my phone. Right. So the response time was actually super low, and it wasn't a priority for me because my priority was what was right in front of me in that moment. But with online coaching, you actually have coaches that are there to get back to you 24/7, like on the spot. And that is their job. Their job is to check your feedback and check your data. Whereas an in-person coach, their job is just to make sure that you get the workout for the day. An online coach is to make sure that they check up on, your data. Now, question for you. I know that there's a lot of in-person coaches that, are hesitant about, going online because they feel like it's not as helpful, or it's not as valuable for the client, or they feel like, how can you correct form or make sure that their form is good? What are some solutions that you've seen that you're able to integrate that with online?
Yeah, so there's a bunch of different ways that we integrate that. So I personally request 3 form videos from each of my clients every single week. Some of them are cool with recording themselves and sending that. Some of them send me 10, some of them send me none, but if any questions are there about form, I want them to send me a video of what's going on. So my feedback on form videos, sometimes I'll take a screenshot and I'll draw on it. If like, let's say, their spine isn't neutral, or I want their feet placement to be different, I will draw on a picture of them like, this is what you're doing, and this is how I want this to change. If there's like major adjustments or tweaks or things that I want to demonstrate, I will literally like prop my phone up in my living room and demonstrate, and I'll talk you through. I'll be like, okay, right now we are doing an RDL and your feet look like a sumo. So I want you to bring your feet in here. The barbell should be scraping your legs pretty much. They're like, the barbell's 3 inches in front in your video. So and I'll like hold like something and I'll like demonstrate it for them. So I think that is as much as you could possibly do online, but I really do think that is enough because, you are literally seeing what they're doing and talking to them. And if a client's form is messed up or like has some room for improvement, which honestly, there's always room for improvement on form for every single person, I swear to God. I will tell them like, okay, try this and then send me a video next time you do it and let's make sure you have it down. So it's not like I'm just kind of like, okay, do that. I'm like, okay, do it and like, let me see and make sure you do it. And then if not, I'll provide more feedback. So it just really allows us to see what you're doing. And something else that I really love to do, I'm huge on workout intensity. I love workout intensity being crazy. So if I can see exactly what weights my clients are doing, which we can on our coaching software, I will request videos of them trying specified weights that I think they're capable of. If I see a girl squatting the same weight for 3 weeks, you bet your ass I'm telling her to increase her weight by 10 pounds and send me a video. I want to push you. I want to know what you're doing every single day in and day out. And I want it to be as hard as we possibly can to optimize your performance. And I don't think a lot of in-person trainers are tracking progress. Like you said, you change workouts every single time. So there is just a lot more data for online coaches to look at when it comes to these things. And like I said, we also do provide videos of how exercises should be done as well. So lots and lots of resources.
Yeah. And another point that I was going to make too is like some clients will say like, oh, I need a coach in there to, keep me accountable. But with online coaching, like the coaches can see whether or not you got your workout in every single day. It's not just keeping you accountable for, that workout. It's keeping you accountable for the entire integration of your protocols, nutrition, sleep, steps, training, all of it. So, you have that accountability there. And not only are you accountable to just the workouts, but you're also accountable to getting results too. Because as an online coach, if your client checks in 6 weeks and you don't see a difference, well, who cares if they're getting their nutrition or their steps in or anything, and they're not seeing results, then, something needs to change. And that's really ultimately what they're there for. So we've gone over, why online coaching is great for the client, but why is online coaching great for the coach? Why should a coach be looking into online coaching over, in-person training? Why is it better for the coach?
So as we talked about earlier, you'll be able to help more people. And if you are someone who's really passionate about health and fitness, whatever it is, like for me, like I freaking love to teach girls how to eat food and to fix their relationship with food. I know what it's like to be someone who undereats and like isn't understanding why they don't look good or look the way they want to. And that is the problem with a lot of women. Like that's what they feel. So if I can help as many women as possible remove that negativity in their life and feel empowered, that's what I want to do. So like we said, with in person, you are limited. Let's say you do work basically like a 9 to 5, like 40 hours a week. You're probably going to have some of those clients more than once a week. So let's say you're coaching people twice a week. That's like 20 people you're helping. And also that gives you no time for yourself. With you working that hectic schedule, you're not able to give additional feedback. Like we said, like your job is in person, and someone texts you outside of your in-person training, it's not going to have the sensation of, this is my client, I want to help them. It's like, oh, I just worked 8 hours of in-person training and now someone wants more of me. You're going to grow resentful of it. It's not a good time. And on top of that, if you really want to get people results, why wouldn't you be doing everything you can to get them results? Why wouldn't you be, monitoring their food intake or using coaching softwares online to get them where they want to be? If you really want them to get results, like, do the things that are going to get them results, track those things, hold them accountable outside of the gym. And not, I mean, like from a business standpoint, obviously it is more profitable because you can coach more people. As a coach, I don't try and coach just for money. I want to be results driven, but that is also a cool bonus. There's a lot more flexibility in your schedule, so you don't have to go to the gym at a certain time to meet up with clients. You can do everything on your own schedule. And I think that's super important, because when you are working on other people's schedules, you're going to feel worn down, you're not going to feel refreshed, and it's not going to allow you to perform best when you can. Going off of this, like Zach, like I know you take like 2 naps a day. Imagine if you were like in-person training, you didn't have the ability to take these naps. It's like, are you actually showing up for everyone your best rested self? No. So yeah, it's across the board. It's better for every party involved.
Yeah, one big thing too. So obviously profits are through the roof. You're gonna make a lot more money helping more people. I noticed that most in-person coaches who are doing this on their own, even when they're in an independent practice, like they own their own business, if they're doing their own in-person sessions, they're usually capping out around 10 to 15 grand, which is great. Like 10 to 15 grand, owning your own schedule, but you are a slave to your schedule and you are a slave to your clients. And so going online, you're able to actually help more people. You're able to scale that to 20, 30, 40 grand a month. And you're also able to be in control of your own schedule. You get to choose when you do your check-ins. You get to choose, when you get back to doing your work. It's not like you have to be at the gym at 5 a.m. for a no-show. And then the other thing too is for the client, it's also cheaper. Right? You're gonna be paying, anywhere between $500 to $1,500 a month for an in-person trainer, whereas online coaching is anywhere between $300 to $500 is like a sweet spot. So it's also cheaper for clients. So it's just a win-win on both sides. The other thing too is that with in-person, whether you own your own, if you own your own studio, sure, you get to keep off all your profits, but you're limited on space, right? You either have to pay for space at a studio, you have to pay rent at a gym, at a private facility, or you're working for a gym, right? So unless you own your own studio, which is going to cost a lot of money up front. Like online coaching costs $0 to get in. Maybe you hire a business coach or a business mentor to show you the ropes, but there's no overhead. You don't have to pay monthly rent. The only rent that you have to pay is the rent you already pay to live in your house and your computer. Right? So with in-person training, you are going to be paying rent. And one of the things that actually turned me away from in-person coaching, working at a gym, was that they told me I had to, generate my own leads by dialing up numbers in the phone book, which I wasn't being paid for at the time. Right? I had to sell my own packages, right, which the gym took more than 50% of that package that I would sell. And then I would only be paid $12 to $15 an hour while I'm training these clients. I already knew I would not give a hell about the results for the clients. It would just be a paycheck job. Right. And most trainers that go that route usually are burnt out within a year. Right. Having a private practice in a studio is great. I know that there's trainers out here at Self-Made that do that. They pay rent and they have their own private practice and they're great. But again, they're limited by space. They're limited by time. And so having an online option is just better for everybody. There's so many benefits. It's slavery trying to train clients in a box gym. It really is. They pay you just enough to get you by, but not enough to make you
really
live your
live
life.
your life.
Those are some of the differences between in-person coaching and online coaching that I see that's beneficial for the coach. They both go beneficial for the clients, because why wouldn't you want a coach that is passionate about helping and loves what they're doing and actually wants to show up for you? Jen, do you have anything else that you want to add?
Yeah, I wanted to add a little bit of perspective on it, because sometimes when people hear the price of online coaching, you said, it's like somewhere from like on average, somewhere between 200 to 500. That might seem like a lot per month. That might seem pretty overwhelming. When you think about it, let's say a workout with a personal trainer is like $80 each. If you are doing 4 workouts a month, once a week, you're already at 300 something. If you work out with a personal trainer twice a week, you're already at $640. You're already paying more than even the high end of what online coaching could be. And you're not getting the resources, the support, the nutritional help, the accountability. Like, you are literally paying more to receive significantly less.
Yeah, and that's all I got. So Jen, unless you have anything else that you want to add, we can go ahead and wrap it up here.
No, that's pretty much it. I hope you guys enjoyed this.
Awesome. Jen, appreciate you hopping on. Guys, if you are a personal trainer and you want to start your own online coaching business, we are taking on new trainers to help them start and grow online with our program called Personal Trainers Business Incubator. You guys can check it out with a link in our bio. But until then, guys, peace out.